I just finished up adding all the braces into my floor. As you can see, I did use all 7. And I also covered up my brads with paper and glue to just give them that little bit added extra security that they aren't going to come undone. Probably totally unnecessary, but I like to go that little extra mile. If it, you know, it took me a couple of seconds to do, so it was worth it to me, just for that little extra security. And then I went along the edges here with my hinges on each side that I could, so it's pretty secure now. Next thing we want to do is put on our front end, and that's the one. This one is going to, let's see, I need to get my measurements here for you. This one is going to be 4 7/8 wide by 5 tall, and then these bars here are 1/2 inch wide. And again, I didn't measure down for you, so I will do that now. The opening is 2 by 3 7/8. So now we cut 2 of those, the same size, and this is going to be where our window is that the driver looks down and can see into the I guess trailer would be a good word for it, so you can see where the coffin is and make sure it hasn't shifted around or something. But we need to add a window in here, so we also need to cut a piece of acetate that is, what was my measurements, 2.5 by 4 1/4 or thereabouts. You just want it wide enough that it's going to cover your opening, but not so much. You need space over here so you can glue your cardboard together. And this window stuff that I'm using, I bought at Hobby Lobby. It's a really thick, not really thick, but I mean it's a sturdy piece of plastic, and I bought it in a sheet of it was the size of my mat, my cutting mat, and it's 36 by something or other, 20, probably 2 foot or so, and it was $5.99 for the sheet. And I just cut it using my utility knife like that, and I just, you know, cut it until it cut. And it comes with a film on top of it, so you have to remember to take that off before you add it into your window. But I'm going to put that in with score tape or sticky tape onto one piece. Just so it doesn't shift around and everything while we're trying to glue our pieces together. And this is, I believe this is 1/8 inch tape I'm using. Weak today. Can't even tear the tape. Difficulty, I do eventually tear it. I seem to be rather weak today. And you only have to put this tape on one side because we're going to glue to hold our pieces together. This is, like I said, this is just to hold your plastic in place so it doesn't shift around while your glue's dry. We'll have glass in our our back end too, in our doors, but those we won't be doing until we get all this part done. Okay, and we'll just center this on there well enough, hopefully. And this, oh, I forgot to tell you, this is, let's see how thick this is. This looks like it is about 1/32 of an inch thick, this plastic. So it's pretty thin. Okay, now we have our glass on, or what we're calling our glass. It's plastic, as you know, but okay, now we're going to sandwich this other piece on to here. We're going to glue it, and then we're going to clamp it with clothespins till it dries. Oops. So I put my glass there. You don't really want it oozing onto your glass pane, your plastic pane, but I know mine will, because I never can. You know, I want to get as much glue as I can to hold it together, so I'm sure it will probably ooze, but we'll hope it won't. Wipe off my fingers a little bit. And now we'll sandwich this piece onto here. Make it all nice and even, and then we'll just clamp it all the way around. I probably should have done this beforehand to let it dry good. So I'll probably take a break here and let this dry and come back whenever it's done. But you want it good and dry. And you want plenty of clamps on it. Started to say cramps. You don't want any cramps on it, I don't think. But clamps are good. Put as many as you have room for. Good to me, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to let that set. I'll let that set and dry, and then I will be back. Our piece is dried enough now that we can continue on. It's, I'm sure, still wet. We're going to move on. And now we're going to attach it to the end. And make sure you got the correct end. It's the one farthest away from your axle assembly. And it's going to fit inside, not on the ends, but goes inside everything, not out on the ends. I hope that makes sense. But we're going to use our paper hinges. used to working with my arms, you know, out here so far. It's kind of awkward. And I'm going to attempt to miter my corners. Maybe a big disaster, but we're going to attempt it anyway. And so it goes this way. Whichever way I go is probably going to be wrong, but sorry, I have to have it up in my eyeballs to see for a second. Okay, that looks close. What I did was, since I'm going to be, I don't know if you can see this since it's white, but I just folded the corner back to give me a guide where to cut my diagonal. And I'm going to cut that off. And then I'll open this one back up and cut it off, using the one I cut off already as a guide. So that gives me my mitered corner. Now I'll do this, since this is the one on the bottom here, I'll do my same thing over here. Hope it's close enough. I always pretend it was supposed to be anyway. Okay. And now we'll put this onto our bottom. If I can figure out what I'm doing here. Sorry about all the coughing and hacking and bodily noises I'm making. I apologize for that. Okay, we got that piece on. Let's see, it's gonna go on the bottom first. Cooperate. Scrap stuck there. Wipe my fingers off. Get some of the glue off. I generally wipe my hands on my shirt. I purposely wear an old ratty t-shirt whenever I craft because I like to wipe my hands on my shirt. Like after I wipe the glue off and they're wet, then I wipe my hands on the shirt and stuff. Probably not the best way to craft, but it's how I do it. Okay, there's that piece, and now we're going to do our next piece, which I think I'm going to measure this time. measure on my ruler to get a straight edge. And I'll do the same thing as before. After I fold it in half, I'll fold the corner down and then wire it like I did the other one. Paper's not wanting to fold correctly in half. It's fighting back. Don't you hate that when that happens? Your paper fights back. That's a little better. Okay, and now we'll fold this corner back. And if I did it right, it should all line up. Anybody want to take a bet on if it'll line up or not? Because it probably won't. That's usually my luck. Especially when I'm on camera trying to do something. Nothing ever seems to go correctly whenever you're on camera trying to do something. Sorry I'm off camera, but I have to have it close to my face to see what I'm doing. Okay, now this one should line up here. And it pretty much does. Kinda, sorta, but not really. Probably should have been longer. Yeah, methinks it should have been about a little longer because I don't want any gaps. So let's try it again and see how well we do. See if this will get us a little closer. Glue all over my hands. See if I can get this one to fold in half correctly. We can get it this time. Trial and error. Let's see how well it fits right now. Yeah, that's going to be much better. Okay. Nip our little pointy corners off. That'll work great. I always keep a little tray with some wet napkins in it here to wipe my fingers when I'm working with glue, because it tends to get a little messy. And see how our corners are sticking out a little bit? That's fine. We can snip that off easily. Make sure I'm still all lined up. Okay, we'll just snip this little corner right there. And now we'll do this other side. You know what? I'm not going to make you watch this. I'm going to finish this side, and then on my other end, on this end is where the doors are going, and you need to cut two pieces that look like this, that are 4 7/8 by 5, and then the measurements on this is 3/4 of an inch on both sides, excuse me, and on the top, and then 11/16 on the bottom here. And this is where our doors are going to go on the outside. They'll sit on the outside of this, so we don't need any glass in this part. So you just glue your two, you cut two of them and glue them together. I already did mine to save time, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to go off camera and do it anyway. But I'll go over that again. 4 7/8 this way, 5 this way, 3/4 inch here, 3/4 inch here, 3/4 inch here, and 11/16 here. And then you'll put this on your other end with the 11/16 at the bottom. And again, it goes on the inside of these pieces, not on the ends. It goes like that on the inside, not on the ends. It goes in there. And I'm going to do this the same way with the mitered corners on my paper hinges. And then the next step after this is going to be putting in our floor, which it is the same as our other floor, the second floor piece that we put in. It's going to be the same as that one, which was 4 7/8 by 8 3/4. 4 7/8 by 8 3/4, and then I'm going to put this in and do my paper hinges on it, and then I'll get these two ends on and this end, and then I'll be back for more. Thanks for sticking with me.